Everybody good? Feel comfortable? Ready to rock and roll and have a conversation?
Yeah, we're gonna have a conversation like we're sitting around the campfire.
That's right, we kind of are.
Right there.
Yeah. All right, welcome back to another Barnes Bullets podcast. Today it's a little different. We're in a different setting, mainly because we are in Fairbanks, Alaska, a day after getting out from our DIY caribou hunt with these four guys that you see sitting right here. So to my right, I have Jesse Tillman. Jesse, if you want to give a quick introduction of who you are, how we know each other. Yeah, do that.
I'm Jesse Tillman. I'm from Portland, Oregon originally. Dale and I met about 22 years ago in the Air Force. And then he got out of the Air Force and moved on. I'm still in the Air Force, almost 22 years in. And Dale and I have just stayed connected through the years through shared interests and family and hunting and all that stuff. And we became like brothers, and we like to get together and go on hunts here and there.
Yeah. To my left, I've got Robert and Forrest. Robert, I'm not going to try to butcher your last name.
Pavelka.
There we go, Pavelka. Okay, Robert, want to know or tell the people how you got interconnected with this? Or I guess let me jump to Forrest real quick, because then that'll kind of be a good segue of how Robert got into this.
Right. My name's Forrest Meyer. I am a childhood friend of Dale's. We both grew up in Jacksonville, Florida. We both moved west after our first careers were over. Dale left the Air Force. I was a merchant mariner. We fell in love with Western hunting around the same time. We've been doing it together for 20 some odd years. We hadn't had a hunt together in seven years, and we finally had a chance to get this group together with my other childhood friend Robert and Dale's closest friend Jesse, and that's really how we linked up and how this came together.
Yeah, so really, I mean, I feel like we probably met at Forrest's wedding.
For sure.
That was 10 years ago now, 12 years ago now. But it was like quick, right? And I mean, everybody's busy, it's a wedding.
Yeah.
So like Robert and I really haven't really known each other, I feel like, all that much. But yeah, so this is the first time that we've had the chance to spend a week together and get to know each other more. But yeah, kind of give you a little bit of your background, how you and Forrest know each other. And
Yeah, so, been married to my wife Brandy for 15 years, got 2 kids. I grew up in Jacksonville with Forrest playing baseball, went to high school. We started fishing together when we were, 15, 16?
Yeah, 15.
15 years old. And then just every couple of years trying to do a trip. And so heard a lot about what you were doing, in the outdoor industry, and been living a little vicariously through Forrest, through you. Was excited to get hooked up on this hunt. We were able to go to Alaska 4 years ago and do a moose hunt, Forrest and I. And couldn't wait to come back. So the caribou trip came together, and
yeah, so let's kind of dive into the caribou trip, like how all that came together. Truthfully, it's been so long that I feel like we've been planning this thing out that I really don't even know if it was me reaching out to Forrest reaching out to me. I think it was right around the time that I kind of got done with my moose hunt that we started having the conversation back in like late 23.
Yeah, after your moose hunt, we discussed, you used a transporter with an airboat.
Right.
And I had not done that before. And so we had a discussion about, well, what was that like?
Yeah.
Cost, convenience, logistics. And it sounded to make sense that we could maybe utilize that setup again.
Right.
And you like the particular transporter that you use for your moose.
Yeah. I mean, so it's RJ with blown away airboats out of Alaska here. Again, I used it for the moose hunt. You guys maybe have watched the moose hunt on our YouTube channel, but it's there if you want to. But I saw that he did caribou.
Right.
None of us had ever done caribou before. But as we started talking, I think that's where it kind of led was, hey, let's go try to figure out a way to go do this caribou thing.
And I think the question was like, what's the right number of people?
Right.
Like I was like,
Who are the right
and I've got the
people,
right guy, then you have the right guy, and it just
it
came
kind of
together like
came
that.
together.
Yeah. Right.
So I think that we started to kind of like put down, money and starting to reserve dates. Essentially this time last year.
Last Western fall season.
Yeah.
I remember there's some texts going around, hey, our deposit deadline's coming up, everybody.
Right. Yeah.
Let's lock this down, and we wanted this last week of August so nobody's fall bow season got messed up in September. So we wanted to be able to get into the bush, but then get out for anybody who had elk hunts coming up this September.
Right, which also kind of to go even further with that, I mean, like the transporter, for example, only runs it until the first week of September because then he starts running moose hunts. So, you know, there's like all these logistics that you have to think about when you're wanting to do something like this that's, I mean, really remote. Right. I mean, that's kind of one of the first things that I think that people should understand is that, like, you know, this isn't something that like comes together in 6 weeks. Right. Like it takes a lot of logistics. It takes a lot of, you know, just planning in general to make sure that one, you've got everything lined up between having a rental vehicle, having a place to stay when you get into town, and then when you're going to leave. Right. It's a long damn drive. I mean, the drive alone is essentially 12 hours north from Fairbanks here on the Haul Road. If you've ever been on the Haul Road, you understand just how crappy that road can be. But, you know, there's just a lot of things that go into planning, you know, a true, for about the most that you can do, a DIY type caribou hunt if you're not just going to literally drive up the Haul Road and start hiking type of thing.
And one of the benefits of the airboat transport was we're a little bit more liberal with what we're allowed to bring,
Right.
weight-wise. We
Yep.
can take bigger stuff, and then
You can get deeper.
yeah, that's right. And then something to add what you were talking about, the logistics, is that what we've been dealing with today is the
Right.
into the hunt logistics.
Yeah.
You've got to get your meat home and your trophies home.
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes into planning a north of the Arctic Circle hunt
Yeah.
DIY.
Right. So I guess we can kind of fast forward, you know, like obviously we had a text thread going the entire time, right? Or as we started to like pay deposits and starting to get things together, I think we had like a quick call, what was that, 6 weeks ago now, 4 or 5, 6 weeks ago.
See who's bringing what.
Yeah, just making sure that we weren't really doubling up, you know, making sure that like, I think that Robert and Jesse were going to bring jet boils, right? Like I was going to bring one thing, Jesse was going to bring something that way that the other guys didn't. You know, it's like, if you got 4 guys, there's no use in having 4 of everything, exactly. When it comes to tents, tarps, jet boils, you know, all the necessities, if you will. I mean, spotters, for example, right? It was
Water
like,
filtration.
yeah, water filter. I mean, there again, it goes back to the logistics thing and planning out something like this. You know, when you're flying away from home, yes, you can pick it up when you get here to Fairbanks, but like everything is 3 times the price that it was back at home at that point.
You don't want to take the chance that they don't have it. I mean, I haven't hunted at Fairbanks. You know, we were flew into Anchorage for the moose hunt, so yeah, it's a city in Alaska, but you still don't know, right? You just, if you can bring it with you, you do it.
Well, and depending on what time you get in, right? Like a lot of stores close at 8 p.m. here. And I think that Jesse and I flew in at like 6:30. So you essentially have an hour from the time you fly in to then get your stuff.
Yeah.
If you're trying to turn around and leave, which we'll get to that in the story, right? It was like, if you're trying to turn around and like have a quick turnaround of like, to maximize your time, one, in the field as well as away from home, you know, you make these super tight timelines.
We got
to kinda
lucky.
make everything
Like we'll get into it, I guess. But like the timing of, you know, when we were going to leave and get on the Haul Road, you know, you're going to leave that buffer like 2 or 3 hours just in case. And you're like, no, let's go.
Yeah.
Well, as soon as we got there, we should have been waiting for another 2 or 3 hours
Right.
before we got in the field. And the guy's like, all right.
Like, hey, you're here.
Yeah,
Let's go.
We
So-
actually passed another group that he was going to take out,
Right.
you know, on the way up, and yeah, you're driving fast enough, fast enough to get us there. We beat him probably 2 hours,
Right.
good hour and a half, and it's like RJ's like, yeah, all right, let's put you out.
Right. Yeah. So we ended up. Robert was actually already up here. You had done like a little family trip.
I
getaway
did.
with your wife,
I had a
right?
sabbatical, so I fished out of Homer and Seward with the wife. Did the glacier hike and the Harding ice fields, which was fantastic. So yeah, I had already flown some fish home by the time you guys had gotten here. So yeah, I've been away for a little over 2 weeks now. It's been a heck of a break.
Yeah, it's always nice to, especially when you can get to like places like this, right? That you have no cell phone reception and everything else. And granted, I mean, you hate when you get that first buzz of service again, and you have 1,000 emails, right? Yeah, for sure. Then Forrest flew up. I think you got here essentially the night before Jesse and I did. That gave you time to kind of like get your running around done.
Around midnight, so I had a few hours in the morning before your flights came in, and we did the Sportsman's Warehouse rodeo and picked up extra
Snacks.
socks and other stuff once we saw the weather forecast wasn't.
What we
Well, it was caribou weather, which I'm sure we'll get to.
Yeah.
supposed caribou weather.
Which we'll get to, but it's good to give yourself a little bit of time when you get here, get your feet under you, figure out oh man, I really should have brought that. Like, let's pick that up.
Well, and again, to kind of go back to like us maximizing time, Jesse and I were going to get here at whatever it was, 6 p.m., 6:30, something like that. And truthfully, you guys being here before helped us not have to spend that time running around getting fuel canisters and,
Stop at Game and Fish, make sure we understand the regs where we're going.
having some cooking oil and seasoning, you know what I mean? Just all of those little things that like you don't want to bring from home or you can't bring from home. So, I think that really helped everybody. So yeah, Jesse and I met up in Seattle, flew up here. Immediately, these guys pick us up from the airport, super easy. We kind of do some running around. We ended up going to dinner. You guys wanted to get some sleep, but I think that Jesse and I were chomping at the bit to get on the road.
Charged up.
We're dead.
There's gonna be
Exactly.
no sleep.
Yeah, no sleep for the weary, right?
So we took off, what, 10 o'clock?
No.
9?
It was 8:30.
It was like 8:30. Yeah, we had said that we were going to leave at like midnight, 1 a.m.
We decided to just push it,
Yeah.
and we made it to Coldfoot before they opened for breakfast.
Yeah, we were at Coldfoot at like 1:30 in the morning. And truthfully, we were just like, okay, we've got this far. It's supposed to take 8 hours. It ended up taking us like 6.5, which is pretty nice.
Dale was driving.
I was driving.
Yeah.
I was Red Bulled up and
Yeah, roads were pretty
rocking.
good.
Yeah.
We are very fortunate. There's no road closures, no construction zones,
fairly dry
no
on the way up.
accidents. We made very good time to Coldfoot, and we were all able to attempt to become contortionists.
In the truck, sleeping.
Right.
Rattle your teeth out.
Yeah, so for, grown men in a 2500 four-door truck trying to find their own space to be able to get a little bit of sleep to then eat breakfast, gas up, and continue the rest of the 5.5 hour drive that we had ahead of us.
Yeah, it was, breakfast was at 5 a.m. I don't remember how long we stuck around, but we were at the boat ramp at 10:15.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to say that like we were essentially like first people in line for breakfast at Coldfoot Camp.
Just put it out.
Ate pretty quick, gassed up obviously prior to them opening, and then we were back on the road by like 5:30. And yes, we got 3 hours of sleep, but I don't think that anybody really. I know Forrest didn't, basically sleep that entire time.
Yeah, I had a couple sleepless nights, but that first night in Bush, I was recharged.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we ended up driving up. Robert's kind of already alluded to it, right? We ended up getting up there. It was like 6 hours before we were supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were told noon would be our earliest departure. We were scheduled for 3.
Right.
We got there at 10:15.
Yeah. And luckily, we just pull up and RJ, being the guy that he was, he's like, hey, the other group's not here. Like, if you guys are ready to roll, we can go ahead and put you out right now. So that's what we ended up doing. We loaded everything really quick. And I feel like we were like at our camp before noon. So we were
around, I think, noon 30.
Yeah.
But, that's super quick.
Right. So, we were able to ride in on the airboat. We quickly realized there was a lot more people hunting this area.
Yeah, there's probably 4 outfitters
or transporters that were running, this river as well as other rivers. And, it's pretty easy to find the river. So I'm not going to like name it by name, but like, it's pretty easy to find like where this area is.
Right.
There's a lot of people doing these hunts.
The boat, yeah, you only have to go so far off the haul road before you can start dropping hunters, and then there's only so far you can go on that river.
Right.
And there's a fair amount of pressure in that stretch.
Yeah.
Which we learned.
Right.
Which we learned.
Yeah, and with the transporter, again, if you haven't ever done it before, the transporter literally, it's like you put everything in their boat, plane, whatever you're going to be using, and you give them a spot of where you want to hunt. So as we're doing that, we'd be like, hey, we want to go to this area, I think, as we're going. And then we start riding up the river thinking we're still going to the spot that we had predetermined. And RJ basically like pulled off, and we quickly look at Onyx and we're like, we're a mile and a half, 2 miles.
2 miles short,
Yeah, where we wanted to go. And he's like, unfortunately, it's either here or you're going to go another, 5 miles down potentially to go where you want to, or along this area. And it's all because as we started to ride in, every mile and a half to 2 miles potentially, there was camps along the river. So he was essentially putting us in between camps where he was taking some guys out and putting us in.
Yeah, trying to reserve at some decent areas.
Right. Yeah. So I guess, I kind of turned it to you guys, like, what was your first impressions of taking the airboat up, like getting off, like now you have feet on this piece of ground that you've been e-scouting for, let's just call it 6 months. Yeah, a year.
I mean, for me, it started raining as soon as we pulled the truck up. Like, let's start there. Like we had pretty decent weather on the way up, and then the rain started like immediately. The guys that were coming out of camp, you could tell like they were ready to go. It was a long week, for them. The river was what I thought it was going to be. I expected like to be able to see. I think the area we were scouting had a little more elevation than where we ended up. We were about 3 miles from like some those 80 foot, 90, 100 foot hills that we were looking to hopefully glass from. So it was a little flatter. Like that was my first impression. I was like, oh man, I thought we were gonna have some better spotting spots.
Or closer, right? Like closer to the.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, it was like what a 15-foot hill,
Yeah,
1,000 yards.
Yeah, it gives you a ton of like
It
elevation
did.
gain. It's crazy.
Yeah. So that was my first like impression, just like pulling up.
Yeah. Jesse?
I mean, it was just an adventure. Obviously, you get in the water, you're fired up. It feels a little daunting. The overcast was there.
Rain.
You're like excited about what's to come. You're thinking about big bulls everywhere. Then you pull up to your drop-off point, and there's 4 guys from Wisconsin, and they're just sitting there on the bank looking for the boat, and they're just defeated. And I'm like, whoa, what have we got ourselves? And I'm like, so did you guys leave any caribou for us? And they're like they just grunted.
Yeah.
Bad juju.
They're like, and they kind of told us, gave us a little bit of lay of the land real quick, but they weren't very optimistic or, they weren't very receptive to us. They were just ready to
they
go
weren't
home.
open,
And,
right?
They weren't fired up because they hadn't done very well. They did get a caribou. But it was just kind of a weird like vibe going in, because it was like, you're all excited to go, and you're like, oh, we're gonna go it's gonna be 4 for 4. It's all gonna be giant bulls. There's gonna be caribou everywhere. Then you get to the bank, and it's just like deflated. The vibe was like, it's overcast, raining. The vibe was down. But we got set up. They got out of there, and we took a little bit of their advice, and we just started setting up camp and getting ready to make it happen for ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, right? Because I feel like you were getting to it there, was that like we're so fired up, and to like walk into something that makes you almost like lose that momentum, if you will, that you have going in. Kind of sucks, but like I feel like that's one thing that we all did well for the most part, is like keeping each other motivated when times got tough throughout the hunt. And I think that's really important, is to like hunt with people that can keep you motivated and keep you wanting to go when you're drenched, your boots are drenched, you're cold, like you don't want to walk another mile, but you go ahead and do it just because the other guy beside you is wanting to do that. So that's, to me, that's one big takeaway, right? Of like, not only this hunt, but just like picking your hunting partners in general. You know what I mean? That
and going with experienced people that you watch a lot of YouTube videos, you watch a lot of stuff on TV where it's all success.
Right.
And when you go out on something like this, you should be happy if you go 50% out of 4.
Right.
Straight DIY.
And that's what I was going to say, is like, to me, that's one thing that I've really learned. I mean, I'm not crazy experienced in Alaska, but I've done it 4 times now. And it's like, I feel like anytime you hunt Alaska, like you earn the animal that you like. It is always a hard hunt, no matter what. And it's always a very earned hunt. Like, even if you're not successful, right, you still feel like you gave it what you could give it. And, you can walk away a little bit easier, if that makes sense, knowing that like you gave it everything that you had, versus, let's just say like a whitetail hunt in the Midwest or whatever, you feel like you can kind of just like, ride it out type of thing. You don't have to like push yourself and crush your body or anything else. But
yeah, you got to take it with a grain of salt too. Like you don't know what those guys did. Right. Like they could have stayed in camp and just thought, hey, the world's coming to me. Or maybe they pushed hard. Like you just don't know. So you don't know their hunting style. So yeah.
So yeah, we get into camp. We, like just said, we kind of started setting up camp, everything. Right before RJ left, he's like, man, you guys are about to have some good weather. He's like, we got a couple storms rolling in. And as Forrest was alluding to, we had caribou weather on the horizon, supposedly.
That was one of the mantras of the week.
Yeah.
Caribou
weather.
It's here.
And that means crappy weather.
Yeah. They're gonna just haul butt south. Like
Yeah.
they're grouping up, and it's gonna be like the wildebeest
The migration is coming. Yeah, for sure.
Coming over the hills.
You're gonna say something, Forrest?
No, as far as first impressions, I think that all of us, individually and as a group, just let those bad vibes from that prior group just roll off. Like it didn't affect anybody in this group. I mean, everybody's ready to go, ready to charge over the horizon. It was good. That was the best part about this group, is no matter the circumstances, there weren't any bad vibes.
Right.
Well, I was saying, we woke up the next day and it was like, so there's a series of 3 ridges, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess just go ahead and get
Well, and that's what I was going to actually kind of get to, was that right before those guys left was like, go to the 3rd ridge. That's the only place we saw caribou.
Yeah, and I don't know if those guys found the 3rd ridge until it was too late.
Right.
And because you're expecting the caribou to move to you,
Right.
because this great caribou migration is supposed to happen.
Supposedly.
That they're supposed to be moving south, and I think all the caribou we mostly saw were moving
northeast.
The first
southwest.
caribou with his nose pointed south was on our last day, last afternoon.
So they were the whole week they were pretty much just milling around. They were comfortable with where they're at, and it seemed like there's really no rhyme or reason. They weren't heading in one certain direction.
Yeah.
But I do feel like most of the caribou that we did see were moving north, which was
Contradictory to everything that should be happening. Yeah.
You're like, what's going on?
Yeah, so that first evening, we went up to what we dubbed Hill 1, which was only 809 yards from camp. And got kind of the lay of the land, started to see things, looked around, did not see a caribou at all, stayed there till 9 o'clock that night or something, right? Again, it's late August in very northern Alaska, so there's hardly no darkness, 3 hours maybe, and it's really only
About
just kind
11 p.m.
of dusky.
It starts getting dark.
Yeah. So day 2, and I think Robert was kind of going through that.
I mean, it was like, hey, there's 3 hills and they're all moving north. And so the first one's about like 0.6 miles. nothing's a straight line, by the way. You know, like everything's.
Everything.
I mean, you can make it a straight line if you want, but
Yeah,
You might need a snorkel.
there's no way. I mean, yeah, with good boots, gaiters, you can get through. 90% of it. We had wiggies, but to get the first hill, you're fine, at least at the beginning. And then like we got there, probably 20 minutes, sat around, looked around, and we're like, we don't see anything. We can see pretty far away. And then it's like, hey, I think my mindset, I think most of our mindsets that day was like, we're gonna go until we see a caribou.
yeah, I mean, you're fresh, right? Like call it day 2, but it's essentially day 1 of the hunt because your infill day prior. But like everybody's fresh, everybody's excited. It's like, it's better to burn your boot leather than on day 6 of the hunt when you're tired, when you're worn down, when you're starting to lose a little bit of motivation, you're hungry, whatever it is.
Go figure out
that
what
made
you
it
get into.
right.
See what you're capable of while you're fresh, and then kind of expect that out of yourself for the rest of the week, which we'll also get into.
Yeah, but in the back of our heads, it's like they said hill 3, like we got to get there, So
And we could essentially see a quote hill 3
Right.
from hill 1. We could see multiple different hills that were about halfway between that.
just couldn't see the bottom between 2 and 3. You'll see 1 to 2, which was about a mile,
Right.
and then had another about a mile and a half between 2 and top of 3, the hill that never ended. Really, flat top on it. So I went to hill 2, and we got to learn the lay of the land too. Like can't again, no straight lines. So it's like weaving through which like little 2-foot rises between ponds are trekkable.
What's actual hard ground and what's really just a bog underneath that you think is hard or wet.
I mean, that's one of the biggest things to me is the tundra is so misleading.
Right.
Like, you look out and you're just like, oh, I could walk 10 miles easy. Like, it's so flat. It's beautiful. You're like, I could walk all day.
Yeah.
We're used to hunting canyon lands and mountainous terrain, side
Right.
hill gouging and all this other stuff. I think I would take a side hill gouge any day over walking on the tundra. Because everything is like knee high, like the tussocks, the small brush, the blueberry patches, stuff like that. And it just looks from afar. It looks very.
From Onyx, it looks like Bermuda grass.
It just looks flat.
It's like walking on basketballs floating on water.
Right.
Like it's miserable.
It's all wet.
Yeah, so we're going from hill 1 and decided that we're going to go to hill 3, so that's what we end up doing. And it just I think it took us 2.5 hours that first time. And we're trying to pick our way around and trying to make these big I say big water crossings. I mean, there was multiple different like ponds that kind of ran in together through little tributaries.
Without getting over your boots or
Yeah,
getting soaked to where you're just messed up.
Your boots are wet first day. You're done.
Yeah, you start to get toast. So it took us a while. We finally get to hill 3, and it just looks like it's no big deal. I think it was like a 200-foot hill, maybe something like that.
140.
Yeah, 140, right? Yeah. So like pretty low in comparison to climbing mountains and everything else, where like 1,000 feet is starting to be. So, but you start doing it, and again, it takes so much time because what Jesse is kind of getting to with the tussocks is everything's a basketball. So every time you're taking a step, you're essentially high kneeing over everything that you do. Even if you're walking through a blueberry patch, you're having to pull your legs through. So it's taxing on the body. I mean, it's just tiring out.
Jesse said it really well this weekend. He's like, every step is deliberate. Right. Like you got tussocks here, and like you're placing your foot at an angle, and this foot's going an angle, and this is.
Or you try to step on a tussocks, and you don't know if your foot's going to go left, front, back, right, straight down.
Your leg is loaded. It's not like you can just walk and like daydream. Like everything, you're focused on the ground. And if you're not, you're gonna
fall.
Or injure yourself or something,
Even with all that focus, you can still step the hole.
Yeah.
You can still.
Like you can see, like you're stepping and you're going knee high, and you can see these little pockets that are like another 12 inches deep with water in them, and you're looking through like a hole, you know, like that. But like if you do, all you gotta do is fall through that, and now you're up to your thigh.
Yeah, so we end up, you know, again, we got to hill 3, we start making the climb. I think we were all just kind of like, you know, climbing, kind of some fall back, other people kind of take the lead. And Jesse and I started to kind of crest the hill first. I stopped to kind of figure out where these guys were, just because, again, with this long hill, you could walk 50 yards and lose everybody around you. Like you could walk 50 yards ahead of me, and then I could be 50 yards behind him, and you guys could be 50 yards behind me, and I couldn't see you and I couldn't see him. So it was super, like I was trying to just figure out like where everybody is, trying to keep everybody somewhat together. And as we start to crest this hill, Jesse sees, not the first, I guess we had started to see caribou way back.
Like a mile before that, when we're not seeing any caribou.
Right.
We get to hill 1, hill 2, and we're like, man, where are the caribou? And we're just joking around.
Yeah.
We're starting to feel the suck of the tundra and getting used to all that and maneuvering around the water. And I'm like, as soon as we get to the top of that hill, it's going to be like the Alaskan Serengeti. There's going to be caribou everywhere. And so that was another one of the mantras of the week was Alaskan Serengeti.
Yeah, get to the
It was
Serengeti.
basically on the back side or the north side of Hill 3.
Yeah.
And so we worked our way up to the top of Hill 3, that big broad hill, and kind of the highest terrain in our area of operations, I would call it. And as soon, I think, like Dale said, as soon as Dale and I were kind of in front of Forrest and Rob, and by like 100 yards. And I got up there, and as soon as I got to the top of the hill, I glassed, and I looked down. Well, I saw to the right, I saw a group of caribou, but I couldn't tell any horns or antlers really quick. But I could tell there was a few caribou out there, but I just started scanning around, and I glassed like 1,000 yards to my right, down off the edge of the hill, down at the bottom of the hill on the north side. And there was 3 bulls right there, and I'm like, Dale, we got bulls right here. He's like, okay, cool. I'm like, there's caribou everywhere. I mean, there's like maybe 20 caribou out there.
20, 25.
But you can also see for like 4 miles.
4 or 5, right. I mean, 6, I mean,
Right.
like
See a
last year,
long
you see
way.
for a long way.
Yeah.
And it kind of was like the Serengeti. And we found the caribou.
Yeah, it's 30,
And then
25,
the rest of
30.
the week started to happen.
Right. Yeah. So
No, I was gonna say, yeah, and you guys, like you went, I think you guys saw those and then maybe saw some others, but there was a huge to the east that you couldn't see. So we're just kind of figuring it out that first day. So like y'all went immediately up to the peak and dropped off, and then I couldn't see, Forrest was coming up behind me and we couldn't see like around. And so we decided to stay on a little bit lower ground, just kind of side hill and work our way around. And then we ended up seeing those same 3 bulls you guys did. We were just kind of looking at them from different angles.
But again, like here we are, we're only 200 yards apart, and we don't know where the other group is at that point. You know, like you guys are together, we're together, but like I'm looking back for you guys thinking you were just following the same path we were, and pretty soon you're going to crest the hill,
We're just kind of waiting.
because we had just kind of dropped, 50 yards over it, if you
we
will.
needed some comp, some VHF comp
Yeah.
or something, because we were sitting on the caribou at maybe 600 to 800 meters, and we knew you guys were in a better position, and we didn't want to blow them out in case y'all were considering it. And also,
They were working right to left.
at the time they
to
were
the
coming
west.
our way, and we were debating, are we going to take one of these?
And then they started going
And
back
then
to the
And then they
east.
started going your way, and once they ducked into the bottom there, we lost Viz. We left to get out of there.
Yeah, we actually, Forrest had, good thought, like, hey, we don't want to blow them out. So we actually worked our way the long way around to where we made sure we were out of the line of sight.
The southeastern side of the hill to
Yeah.
just come to you the other way. So if you guys were making a stop, we wouldn't mess it up for you.
Yeah.
And
as we've made it
maybe 15 minutes, 10
180
minutes.
degrees around, and we're kind of angling towards you. We figured out where you were. We heard a shot.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was almost like having to grab Jesse by the coattails type of thing.
This is different.
Yeah.
This relationship has been going on for a long time, and usually I'm the one jerking on the back of his collar.
Because I'm just like, let's go. But I was like, dude, we have to figure out where those guys are. Like, I want to wait for them. Again, like I saw 3 bulls down, or we saw 3 bulls down there, and I was like, we could all potentially shoot one right here, or 3 of us shoot one. Granted, they're not like giant bulls, but it's the first time that we had seen bulls. Like, here's a couple like decent bulls that we can kill. And I think at that point, I mean, like we were only like 800 yards away from them.
Yeah,
I mean, it was pretty dang close.
Initially we were probably like 1,500 yards, but they were kind of closing the distance. And
we would close the distance,
so
yeah.
We got within 1,000 really quick, and then we got within like 750
really fast.
Quick. And then we started to slow down and be like, all right, how are we going to skin this cat?
Right. Well, and wind was good, right? It was coming, but I knew that because of us being on that uphill slope and them being basically right at the base of the hill, if you want to call it that, by that point, like we're skyline crazy.
Yeah.
So again, going back to the tundra, like yes, everything just looks flat when you're standing on a tussocks, and Jesse's 6'5", 6'4", right? I'm 6'2", like you just kind of stand out like a sore thumb when you're just looking up at it. We quickly realized that when we saw other hunters from 4 miles away, and you can just see them with your naked eye standing on a hillside. So, I'm trying to think like, okay, how do we actually like do this? Do we just kind of ease our way down and let them kind of work to us, whatever. So I think we started to get into a shooting position. We're looking, Jesse's like, I want to shoot that bull. That's annoying. I want to shoot that bull. And I told him, I was like, I'll shoot the other bull. Like, I'm fine with that. We can try to double up right here. I started getting the camera ready, like getting spotter on, everything else. Jesse's trying to get in position. And the bulls were working towards us. At one point, they had essentially got to like 300 yards. But again, going back to the tussocks, is trying to get a good shooting position from a weird, like you're either sitting down in a hole or you're sitting on the side of a tussocks, and then you're kind of rolling your body and you're trying to get your sticks or your bipod or whatever.
My bipod, I think I have it at like 9 inches, and it'll extend it out, but I like being prone if I can and shooting from my belly, which is what I'm comfortable doing. And in that tussocks, your barrel is
nearly impossible.
The tussocks, so you got to get elevated. You either got to be sitting on your butt, standing on, or kneeling, which is totally uncomfortable for me. So I was just trying to find a position where I could get prone,
right,
and have that elevation to be able to make the shot. And we kind of got set up. Dale was on camera. We're kind of figured out 2 bulls that we wanted to shoot. We had no idea where Rob and Forrest were. We knew they were around, but we couldn't see them. So we're lined up to try and double up, but mainly get me a shot on the initial bull and then double up if we could. And they had worked into 300 yards.
Yeah, they were close.
They were close.
They were getting
a
tight.
chip shot.
Yeah.
And I was just getting comfortable, checked my dope, all that stuff, make sure I was getting comfortable because I just didn't want to make a bad shot. Especially first day, starting things out, make a crappy shot, and I just feel bad. And I've made enough bad shots in my life where I wanted to be sure about it. So by the time I got comfortable, the bull that I was going after, he was kind of down over the rise, and all I could see was the top of his back, his neck, and his antlers and head. And so it just didn't work out. And I could tell Dale was getting a little frustrated. He's working the camera, and we're like brothers, so he's like, he's giving me this sigh, and I could feel the pressure. This is a relationship that we have, and I'm like, whatever. But I'm like, whatever. I'm not gonna take a bad shot. They weren't spooked at that time, but then they had got underneath us, and the wind was straight at our back, and they got our wind. They kind of spooked out to about 500 or 600 yards, and we're kind of like crud. And then we're kind of both on our knees. I'm behind my gun, Dale's behind the camera, and we're kind of just looking at each other like, oh, what do we do now? Anyways, we got perpendicular with them. We kind of took a time out and kind of just cloverleaf back up the hill a little bit. They could still see us. We didn't get like,
but we got the wind back in our favor, which I think helped a lot.
Ish. I think and also they kind of just worked down to where they were far enough that the wind probably wasn't affecting them.
Yeah.
And caribou are, I don't know, they're not very spooky. They're very curious, and they're kind of just, they kind of prance off for a little bit, and then they'll feed, and then they'll
Almost like forget
they
about
might
you.
run at you. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have not figured out caribou yet.
Yeah.
They're interesting animals. Anyways, we start to work perpendicular to them on the hill, and we ended up getting again within about 500 yards. And at this time, we had more elevation than they were down. So we're like, all right, we're gonna get a good shot here. And then they started to feed kind of back towards us a little bit. And they're right at about 500 yards. Dale got behind the camera. I got behind the gun. Dope's good. We're checking with each other. Hey, you on them? I'm on them.
Yeah.
Whenever you're ready. And the bull that I wanted to shoot came broadside or slightly quartering to, and I was trying to high shoulder him, and then shot him basically right behind the shoulder, about high long, and came out, towards the opposite rear hind quarter, and he went about 30 yards, and I tried to work in another round. I had a mag situation or a feed situation where it just didn't feed right. I probably short stroked it and got a little excited there. So I'm dealing with that, and Dale's like, he's going down. And about the time that I had jacked another round in and got back on him, he starts doing the wobble and just hitting nose plants.
Yeah, just crumbled. And again, that kind of goes back to you guys hearing the shot. Those bulls were actually kind of almost working towards you at that point. But I mean, I think you were still.
We had already. We had already backed out.
We had already assumed you guys were making a play, and we're just getting out of the way.
Yeah. We figured you guys were. Once they had stopped going west towards us, again, like no rhyme or reason, right? Like we just thought they were okay. Hey, let's be patient. They're gonna keep working their way to us. Then all of a sudden, like they consistently doing a 180, and we're like, well, we know you guys are that direction, so we just didn't want to screw it up. So yeah, we were already out of the picture.
Yeah, so Jesse shoots his bull at 480. You're shooting 7 PRC, right? Mm-hmm. That you built up this past spring. One of the things, again, I think that's something to talk about is, we did have a little bit of wind, and it was like a 10-mile-an-hour wind, but I feel like, even at 500 yards, you really didn't have to hold much for it.
Yeah, I think I could have. I think that's probably one of my mistakes is I just don't account for the wind as probably as much as I should.
Yeah.
And I think we had just enough wind to where it probably pushed it a couple inches right.
Yeah. But I mean, still holding essentially front of the shoulder.
It wasn't a stiff wind to where I really had to worry about it, but there's probably enough that you could account for it. I probably could have held a little forward and sunk it right in there.
Right. Well, I mean, again, I guess what I'm getting at is, you're holding essentially front of the shoulder / middle of the shoulder, and you just hit just behind it. So, I mean, it's like that wind drift was really only about 4-6 inches at max, right? So, I mean, it's really not that bad. I think that is a pretty damn good testament, right, to the 160 grain bullet, and the BC that it has, plus the power that 7 PRC has, right? I mean, it's a fast bullet. So yeah, we had one caribou down. The other two kind of didn't know what had happened. They run out there. I think that we kind of started to try to have a little bit of a mad scramble to potentially shoot a second one, but I mean, really quickly he was at 600 and more. So that was pretty out of the question. So now it's a little bit of celebration time. I think everybody's feeling good because here we are essentially 24 hours into the hunt and we have a caribou down.
It all happened so fast that I still get buck fever. I'm probably the worst. I still get jacked up.
Yeah.
And I hope I never lose that. I mean, that's kind of cliche, everyone always says that, but when we crested the hill and seen the bulls and started working towards them and working for the shot, I just really never had a chance to highly anticipate, because we walked 3 miles up there and you're not seeing anything, and you're just I'm gonna get to the top of this hill and I'm gonna see all these caribou. Yeah, right.
All right.
And then we get to the top and then the hunt is on, and it just happened all so quick that and Dale and I, from hunting together for years and just kind of knowing how each other worked, it all flowed so well, and it happened, and it's kind of like, usually we kind of high five or hug or whatever, and it's kind of just like, oh, that happened.
Yeah, that was quick.
So where's the next one?
Yeah.
You know, we're wondering about what are these guys seeing, and
Well,
there's more caribou over here. So let's, like, we hadn't even checked out the other caribou that we saw,
Right.
because we took the closest target, the 25-meter target, as opposed to, you know, the hunt could still be on. Let's not like celebrate too much. Let's see what else we can do.
Right.
It was also like our best weather day, and we were all together, you know, which was pretty cool. So we didn't know it was gonna be our best weather day. It ended up being, our best. But yeah, I mean, we got some pictures with all four of us. I mean, it was awesome. It was fun to celebrate with you.
You know, one of the things that I kind of got taken back from when we walked up on them is that I think all of us were surprised at how large a body size they were, right? Like they were much bigger than I think we had anticipated. Like I've seen some caribou just from like photographing and being on different hunts and stuff. But like you're not that close, obviously that close to them. I've never seen one dead. I've never walked up on one dead, touched one, anything like that. But like I envision them being essentially 50 pounds bigger than a large mule deer type of thing. And then you walk up on them and it's like, this thing's actually like the size of a cow elk.
Yeah.
You know,
Younger elk, younger cow.
which was kind of, I think, a little bit surprising to me personally.
And the bulls we shot were all semi-young bulls. So who knows how big a big bull gets?
Right. Yeah. Maybe they get quite a bit bigger, but we get quickly to work, and you know, I think it's, you know, we all ate some food, and I think
we took some pictures. We debriefed real quick. We ate some food. We broke down the animal, and
the pack out was on
there in
1:30 in the afternoon, I think it was.
We started working back.
Yeah, like heading back. It was about 1:30 in the afternoon. I mean, it was pretty.
I didn't check my phone. I was just having a good time.
Yeah.
The sun was out, and the sun's out forever in Alaska. And the sun was out that day in Alaska.
All I know is we were 3.5 plus miles deep.
Yeah. We knew we had plenty of daylight, so I wasn't worried about time. And we just we all packed up and started making our way back towards camp. And it took us probably 2.5, 3 hours to get back. We weren't trying to set any land speed records or anything like that.
No.
And I think that first day we all had everything that we needed. Like we packed
Heavy.
We didn't like check with each other, hey, you bring this, I'll bring that. We all just brought everything.
Right.
You know, water, food. We brought, what
Jet
if we get
boils.
stuck out here for a day? Like
Right.
we need 2 days worth of food.
Yeah.
We need our rain gear and snib and this and that.
There were lessons learned on the first day.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll get to a gear list later in the podcast. But I learned a good lesson on the first day as far as the trekking poles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny because I vividly remember us like leaving camp that day. All three of us had them. You didn't, and I think that we tried to push.
I was like, Forrest, you gonna get them?
I might have very naively said, no, I'll be fine.
So Forrest and I have never used trekking poles before. Like you guys have done a lot more. Well, Forrest's done a lot of Western hunting. I'm probably the least experienced, right? And I'd bought, you know, the Cascade Tech, whatever, you know, Costco special carbon fiber, but they had good reviews, so I went with them. And Forrest hadn't used them before, so I brought a pair for each of us. And I had used them when I was hiking with my wife the week before. That was my first time ever using them. I was like, that was 3,000 foot climb.
Man, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, that was really helpful, especially when I was dragging towards the top. So I definitely grabbed mine, but
I made the mistake. And the other lesson learned from day one, I kind of remember that we were still learning our route through the Hill 2 to Hill 3 basin.
Right.
We had a lot of water hazards.
Yeah.
And two of us may have taken a slightly different route than the other two on the way back.
On the way back, yeah.
Which
I got talked into that one.
Yeah.
To not leave a man behind and go with him. So.
Some of our GPSs were working better than others. So I was navigating on the way back, and Forrest was navigating, and Yeah, I was like, I'm
took-
going this way.
We took the straight line route. That's not necessarily.
It felt like it was a hell of a lot longer, I can tell you
Not
that.
necessarily
100%.
the easiest.
Yeah, well, Jesse and I were the pack mules. We had most of the animal. You got
Yeah, I had
I just
some
hung
too.
with Robert as much as I could this week because I know Dale, he's strong-minded and he's going to do whatever he wants to do. And I know sometimes that pans out pretty well and other times it doesn't. And
Sometimes
I'm
I just take you
Rob
on a
seems like he's pretty reasonable.
death march.
Rob. You know, so if we're wrong, let's be with Rob.
There you go.
And Forrest and Dale, it wasn't bad. We learned the territory a little bit better that day.
Yeah, I was just exploring.
Yeah.
Still learning.
We were just trying to figure out different OPs.
The area.
But success, when we got back to camp, I mean, I'll be honest, like the first bigger pack or longer pack for me. So I was pretty hammered.
Well, and to kind of go back to your trekking pole part, right, is that like, I think that that's where they really make a difference. Like, yes, they can make it, you know, especially the tussocks, they make it nice when you're trying to balance on one and jump to another or whatever, right? And you can kind of use your trekking poles as bouncing points, if you will. But like, you start putting, let's just call it 60, 80 pounds on your back, right? Yeah. Like, it really helps you take that load off your knees, off your legs, whatever, and kind of just like work that way. So
Yeah, take a break.
Trekking poles.
Lean over.
Check. Bring them.
Have to.
A tundra hunt.
100%.
mountain hunt, whatever.
Yeah.
But we got back and like part of the like gear list, like, hey, who's bringing a tarp? I was bringing a tarp, so we busted the tarp out, try to keep the meat dry, and yeah, got it set up in the bushes away from camp.
Yeah, so did that. Had a nice little. We didn't cook meat that night. We cooked meat a couple nights later.
And we high-fived and we made
yeah.
some.
We had a shot of blackberry brandy.
Yeah, and
And we had a weather day.
was it a weather day?
No,
Day two, we said we're going
Send
right
it.
back to it
But it was
again.
a quick
Well, Forrest and I took it a little easy the next day because
on day two.
Two.
we went to Hill 1 and we're like, we're just going to check out Hill 1 and kind of recover a little bit. And
Well-
then Dale and Rob hooked up and they were like, yeah, we're going to take it easy too. They went to Hill 2, but they lasted about 20 minutes on Hill 2
Yeah,
and then
and
you
like-
see them taking off for Hill 3.
Yeah, we're gonna go
It's
to
like, wow,
Serengeti.
I guess we're doing this again.
Yeah. After I was
That was the plan.
So one thing that we passed over, when you're doing this sort of DIY hunt on the river, the amount of pressure that there is, and there is some competition with other camps. And while we were gone on Hill 3 on day 1, the neighboring camp killed 2 bulls off Hill 1 behind our camp.
Yeah.
1 mile north, straight north of our camp.
Directly behind our camp. And so,
If we had a lane, it would have been our lane.
Right.
Not that, I mean, it's all their, it's everyone's land.
It's public
land of the free.
it's public land, but
yeah.
there was some incentive for Jesse and I, well, for me and for Jesse to agree to hang with me
Yeah.
to hunt short after the legs were a little toasted from the first day.
Yeah.
Hey, look, bulls, you know, we had animals come through here. Let's give it a go.
Right.
Yeah. So Jesse and Forrest stay back. Robert and I were like, well, we'll go to Hill 2. We get there and we're just like, let's just go to Serengeti, dude. Like, we're not seeing anything. So we hiked all the way up there, and I think that the closest caribou we saw was 2.5 miles away.
And you're already, what, 3 something?
3+ right from camp.
And the day before, we probably had 15 animals within 1,000 yards.
Right. Yeah. So and correct me if I'm wrong, but like even those animals that were 2 miles away didn't see any like monster bulls or big bulls. So it was like mostly cows. So I think we hung out there for an hour and a half or so or something.
Just seeing
just
if
kind of like
someone
started kind of
move.
like move, like working our way back. We also, I think we kind of slept in a little bit that morning versus like the morning before. So
Well, in the back of my mind too, it's like you just hang out long enough to see like, are they going to migrate? Right. Yeah, they're going to turn around. I mean, they can cover ground so fast.
right.
You know, I mean, a half mile in a couple minutes.
Right,
I mean, they can
pretty
move
quick.
if they want, but they weren't. And I think we were still trying to figure out is there a pattern?
Right.
And and there wasn't at
Yeah.
the time. They would go left, they go right, they go back left or east, west, whatever it was. They're just milling around.
Right. So we ended up kind of hanging out there for a little bit. We actually kind of looked more around the hill, got to kind of get more of that lay of the land. And then we start the hike back. We take a very deliberate route that time on the hike back. I think you had started to kind of
I'd set a track.
figure out the track the right way to
Right.
get from 1 to 3 very
Robert was
Yeah.
a pathfinder.
more easily, if you will.
At some point, I don't remember if it was like on the way out. I think it was actually on the way out the second day. I was like, man, this is really confusing. I'm gonna set a track. So I set a track on X, and it proved to be helpful.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
can see where you're going, but it's navigating those wet spots.
Right.
It could be.
Yeah. You need to know.
It
where
could be
you're
4
going.
feet deep and passable within 10 yards of each other. And,
Right.
and if you get stuck out there in the dark, you kind of need to know where those spots are.
So the second thing about day 2 was we did head back a little earlier because Forrest had been checking the forecast every day through your Garmin, your InReach, and it called for really nasty weather that afternoon. Like we're looking at the brooks behind us, and they disappeared. We're like, it's coming. Yeah, and the animals were not coming, and the weather system was pretty bad. So we tried to hightail it back.
Yeah, so we ended up doing that, get back to camp again, just kind of, I feel like we kind of hung out that day, or is that the night that we ate caribou? I think that was the night
I
that
feel like
we...
there was another.
That
I
was
think
the
that
day.
day, that day after we kind of hung around camp because the weather was just, it was nasty.
It kept us locked in until 4 o'clock in the
It
afternoon.
was socked
Right.
in. We couldn't see a whole lot, and so we're like, all right, this is our day to recover, so we can make a strong push for the last 4 or 5 days.
Right, yeah, so day 3 was pretty much just a camp day, weather day, and again, I feel like I've started to hunt Alaska enough that it's like some days you just have to take it, like
Visibility was terrible.
Right, yeah.
It probably snowed 3
I think
inches.
I think that we woke up to quite a bit of snow that morning, and Viz was 800 yards maybe.
At the most.
Yeah, and and understanding that you're in big wide open country, like 800 yards really doesn't do you a lot. So we ended up just kind of hanging out in camp. We ended up setting up a tarp to like later on that day to at least like have a glassing location from camp that helped us get out of the snow and the wind and the rain.
We're stir crazy too.
Yeah,
Like,
after about 12 hours in the tent, it was time for everybody to kind of regroup.
But then that evening it started to break up. And
Right.
We got some good weather, and we got some communal time. We broke out some fresh caribou backstrap, and
yeah.
we put that on the skillet. I went and cut like a third of one of the backstraps.
And quickly realized
And
that
these
was
guys
not
were
enough.
Like, what are you doing? And we went through that, and like each person got a few slices, and then I quickly went back for the rest of one of the backstraps. We ate a whole backstrap that night.
Yeah,
and it was phenomenal.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
did,
caribou meat, like
shocking.
I did not, I expected it to be good, but it was so tender and so mild. I mean, probably because they're not in rut yet or anything like that. And one thing I noticed when we came up on the animal, like there was not a musk, like there was a light deer smell, but it wasn't like a strong smell at all.
Yeah.
And just dealing with bulls and rut or bucks and rut and stuff like that. Like sometimes you're like, whoa, this is gonna taste interesting.
Yeah.
And that caribou was just so mild and so tender. I
Right.
mean, it's crazy tender. It was awesome.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
looking
it's
forward to the
clean.
next backstrap.
Yeah, when I was cleaning it up, and I just brought, I think we used spray olive oil and some Montreal steak seasoning, and that's it. Like just simple go-to.
Just salt for me.
Yeah,
Perfect.
just salt for Forrest.
It was very, very
I just
good.
like I cleaned up that backstrap, and I think I was saying as I was cleaning, it's like, guys, this is tender, like crazy tender, and just I don't know, whatever, a little thicker than a 1/4 inch, little steaks and flash fry on each side. They were phenomenal. So we were impressed. Made us motivated for sure to get some meat. Yeah. Yeah.
We had some smiles, we had happy tummies, and we told some jokes, and we heard Robert's
45-minute
ghost
story.
Yeah.
It was good.
The
And
Georgia
we all got a
deer
good night's rest
story.
that night. And we're ready for the next day for sure for day 4.
Yeah, day 4. I'm trying to think. I have to refer back to my notes just to make sure that I'm good at. I was pretty good at like keeping notes. Day 4. It's
Big day.
They all started to run together because the weather
Yeah.
after day 1 was generally pretty miserable.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Camp day,
It was
rain.
snow and rain.
It was wet, it was overcast, and
Yeah, I think
That
it
was
got
kinda
down to 20,
what wrestling
28,
is.
29.
Right.
Was probably the low over the trip, but then it settled into that high of like 36,
Right.
37.
Yeah, it was 28 to 36, 37 with
15
wind,
to 20
wind and
miles.
moisture the whole
Regularly.
trip after the end of day 2.
Right.
it wasn't unbearable. It was just that continuous kind of suck, just kind of like.
Yeah, I mean, when you're just damp and cold and you just, it's not like we had buddy heaters, even though Forrest wanted one while we were out there. And he kind of said that he was going to buy one, which I think that at the end of day 3, I think that we all wished that you would have bought one.
Nothing
but
dries.
you didn't. Yeah, exactly, right? Like that's the thing is that you had
Just
no
to
way
dry
to
our
dry
socks,
stuff
because
off.
I think everybody
Or
was,
even just, I mean, like my rain gear stayed a little bit wetter than everybody else's, right? So I'd put on rain gear in the morning and I was already wet, or felt just damp and cold. So like, you just gotta deal with it, right? Like it's like,
I think Jesse said it best. We were going to, and then we did do some character building, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
You just gotta get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
100%. So day 4, we get up, everybody's pretty dang well rested. And I think that Robert and I just said, we're gonna go to Serengeti again because why not?
Yeah.
And
You guys were gonna go to 2
to Alpha.
Alpha.
Yeah.
Because we had the previous
to
night we had
west.
snuck out,
Yeah.
and we had started seeing some caribou north and west of camp.
3 to 4 miles.
Yeah, kind of west of the Serengeti. It was still, as we learned,
Right.
the Serengeti, but just more west. So we wanted to try a new lookout spot for that.
Right.
So we headed that way, a little west of you guys, and you guys went north of us.
Yep. Yeah, and we get up on top of the hill, and immediately start seeing caribou again.
Yeah.
As you always did when you got to the top of the hill. It just depended on how close they were. I think we saw a couple cows and calves.
Yeah, 800 yards.
Yeah, not very far. But we sit down, we're kind of just hanging out, and I don't remember if you saw them first, I saw them first, whatever it was. But we're like,
group of 5.
yeah, we could see some pretty decent bulls out there. 3 that we considered quote shooters, for our group.
Right.
And especially now you're getting to day 4, right? And we only have essentially 7 days. And we haven't killed one since day 1, right? It's like you start kind of thinking through your head, like, things need to start moving along unless you just get lucky and shoot one behind camp. But there was a lot of back and forth with Robert and I while we sat on that hill and glassed those bulls. Because we started, yes.
There
We
was.
weren't so sure there was any communication on that.
Trust me, there was. From my end, there was.
There was a lot of there was a pond. There was a couple different ponds, right, that we were looking at. And I'm studying onyx, and Dale and I are trying to figure out exactly how far these bulls are, because it's the depth perception is are they that rise? Are they not? Are they it's kind of hard to tell. So we're going back and forth. Are they a mile away? Are they a mile and a half away? Are they 2? Originally, we looked at them and we're like, oh, they're 2 miles away. And then I'm studying it, and I'm trying to find any reason why we should go kill these bulls.
Or go chase them.
Or go chase them. I'm looking at this thing, man, and I think they're a mile and a quarter, and it's a mile and a quarter to that lake. And he's looking at me, he's like, still a mile and a quarter.
Right, like you do understand this becomes a 2-day pack out. It's basically, I was telling you that from the get, before we ever left, I told him, I was like, this is going to be a 2-day pack out, plain and simple.
It wasn't early either.
Because again,
No.
our initial thought was like, I told him, I said, if we're going that far, we might as well just kill 2 of them and just deal with the suck. Like, instead of just killing 1.
And this is about 4 p.m.
Probably 2.
Yeah,
when we
2:30.
made the decision.
Our
Okay.
messaging was, we're in reach to Zolio, our messaging is a little delayed. We didn't get any of your messages till 4:30. Now, I don't know, who knows when you sent them.
Yeah.
It might have been 4:30 when we killed.
I think we killed about 5:30.
I think I think
It was
It
getting
was about
late.
5:30.
I was checking inReach pretty often that afternoon just to kind of see where you guys were at. And
I know that
somewhere
I
between
sent you
4:30
a
and
message at 1. I might have never sent you a message to say we're going.
We got a message that that the Caribou have the high ground. We're
600 yards
we're
away.
making a play.
Yes, that exactly. Okay, that is the first message I remember sending as well. Is that said all I said was, yeah, I think it was like we're 600 yards away. They're on the high ground. We can't move, or something to that
something to that
extent.
extent.
600 yards away from top 3. Okay, not that bad.
But back to like twisting Dale's arm, like again, not being that experienced out west, and you have, or more than me for sure, I was like, same thing. I was fighting the clock mentally, thinking, hey, stay 4, like,
Right.
they're there, like we can see them. It's gonna suck, but let's go for it.
Yeah, and I mean, to be honest, right, it's not a hard arm to twist for me.
Yeah.
Like I've gotten myself in predicaments because I always am the guy that's like, I'll just go, like,
Yeah.
I'd rather just go ahead and fill my tag and deal with the suck afterwards, and I can forget about it by time that it's time to hunt again. So it wasn't very hard, and I was game to do it, right? And like,
Yeah, you were.
but yeah, I mean, I do vividly remember like trying to talk you and just making you understand that this is going to take some time to, one, get them out, and then we're probably going to have to come back. Granted, we did think that like, or we knew that like these guys were going to be able to come help us, but even with their help, it was still going to potentially take 2 trips.
Right.
So we ended up starting on the stalk, personally, I feel like we couldn't have done a better stalk for the
We got some-
topography that we had.
We got into whatever drainage system there was, and there were some brown bushes that were probably, I don't know, waist high, for the most part. And then,
used that as cover, essentially.
yeah, stayed in the low ground, and then there was some wettish ponds, yeah. And honestly, I mean, they were feeding pretty hard when we first started the stalk, and I feel like the first 3/4 of a mile, like we moved pretty quick.
Yeah, we covered a lot of ground
Yeah.
fast.
And all of a sudden, like we're within 1,000 yards, like pretty darn quick. And then we started slowing down a little bit, and you had a good idea. It's kind of moved like zigzag because
Yeah, we ended up like breaking up
Yeah.
instead of like just staying right together because I think that you look like a bigger blob. So like we broke up, and my thought is that this stuff, when we would drop like kind of in the water systems or whatever you want to say, like, I mean, it's up to your shoulders. So if they're looking at us even from 800 yards away, they're seeing like little bit, just like us bobbing and weaving, and like, because we're doing this back and forth, right? You're looking at caribou do the exact same thing coming over the rise. So it's like, well, maybe they just think that, oh, they're just seeing little bits and pieces.
Yeah.
So we ended up doing that again. I think I finally stopped for a second. We got to roughly about 600 yards. It was so hard to get a range. I remember that because they ended up bedding down on a slight slope that's not
7 foot.
yeah, very low slope, but they're basically looking right at us because the wind's blowing from them to us, so they're looking the direction that the wind's blowing, which is the way that we're coming in on them. And I'm trying to get a range, and I'd get a range of 380, and then the next range I'd get was 640, and the next range I'd get was 460, you know what I mean? Like, I was just getting ranges all over the place, so it's like, okay, I think they're roughly 600 yards away. And I mean, the rise is so small that looking at it on Onyx, it doesn't even register on Onyx. So you can't use Onyx to like, do your little okay, how far am I away from here, blah, blah, blah. So we ended up just basically hunkering down until they made a move or we could get a good range on them. And I feel like we sat there for 30 minutes or more, and it started to rain.
Yeah.
And as soon as it started to rain, all 5 bulls, 6 bulls.
There were 5, I think, then, and then I don't know where the 6th one came from.
Up with 6
Yeah.
somehow, but they all pop up and start feeding. But of course, instead of feeding towards us, they feed away from us. So we're kind of watching them, and like at that point, we could get a good range. I think we had like 500, like 530, something like that, on that range.
We started to get set up.
And we were starting to get comfortable, right? I mean, I was shooting a 257 Weatherby. You're shooting a 6.5 PRC. You felt like very good at 600. I kind of felt my max range was in that 500 yards.
But I had never shot.
I wanted to do.
But I mean, you asked me what my comfortable range was, and it is 600. I mean, I practiced out that, but that's also, like Jess was saying, prone.
Right.
You know, so now, you know,
I'm trying to get you to shoot off
shoot
sticks
off
and
my,
like
my walking
yeah.
sticks with my pack as a rest, and I mean, I was trying to get comfortable, but no,
Yeah.
I really wasn't. So not in that, because we were still a little down, and I was trying to shoot over some of that brown stuff that was kind of waist high at some point. So I would just be like nipping the top of those, and so never really had a great shot from that position.
Right.
So I think from there it was like, hey, when they get over this rise,
It's time to move.
you were like, hey, we're gonna move quick, and it took forever for them to crest that, because we don't know how deep these ridges are. I mean, we're thinking, hey, it's 20, 30 yards, and then they're gonna drop off. When they did drop off, like we closed 500 yards, you know, like
Relatively quick.
yeah, pretty darn fast. And we kept going up this rise and not seeing them. Like we were like, where in the heck did they go? Because they're kind of split up 3 and 3, 3 to the east and 3 to the west. And then again, it was like one of those hills that like never ends.
Yeah.
And so as we were going up, we got again 600 yards, and then saw them, and they were at 400.
Yeah.
I want to say.
And the back bull had already was basically feeding towards us, and it's, again, you're skylined as soon as you get any type of rise. Yeah. That bull looks up at us. It is what it is, and like now we're like, okay, we're basically stuck here. I think we ended up trying to belly crawl, quote unquote belly crawl, knee crawl, whatever you want to say, over tussocks, through tussocks, with our packs, trying to stay as low as possible. It's just,
It didn't work.
yeah. I mean, I think we moved like 25 yards.
Watch this.
Well, you can, because we do have it on video on GoPro and stuff, which is hilarious. But we moved 25 yards, and it felt like it took 15 minutes to move that 25
And they are
yards.
moving away from us.
Yeah,
this
like just
entire
feeding,
time.
just constantly, right? And anyway, we end up finally, like, I get Rob to get into like a pretty decent shooting position. Coming back to the trekking poles, coming in clutch again is we, X his trekking poles. He gets on it, gets his bag behind him into a pretty damn good shooting position. I thought.
Started getting comfortable with it. Again, I wasn't like down. At least we were on flat ground, where before we were kind of sloped off into that little bit of a pond that we'd just trekked through. So
Right.
yeah, I started getting comfortable. You started getting comfortable. We got the camera set up, and then it was the 1, 2, 3 shoot.
Yeah, trying to, right? We were trying to get 1, 2, 3 shoot. Mine would be broadside, his would be facing away, mine would face towards us, his would be broadside. And we played that game for, it felt like 30 minutes. It was probably 10,
probably 10,
max.
but the safeties were just clicking
on and off, trying to get comfortable, and the whole time they're slowly getting further and further and further away. So I just finally just kind of said, look, like, shoot your bull and we'll figure it out after that.
So you gave me, you were able to give me a solid range.
Yeah, I was able to get on the camera, get on the rangefinder.
I was checking my dope and ended up being, 620.
620.
Yeah, which is a poke for me, for sure, especially in that shooting position. But yeah, just as soon as he turned broadside, let it rip and ended up dropping him. So
Yeah, I mean, he did kind of take a step on you, like, and it's just, it happens, but you were able to just still drop him where he stood. And then kind of all hell broke loose in that moment. Again, it always kind of happens. But now we're like, okay, we came here to shoot this other one as well, because I had kind of picked out one that I liked. And they started running towards us. Because I told you before you shot, I was like, they might not know where the shot comes from, and they might just end up running towards us. Well, that's what they ended up doing. And so they all start running towards us. I'm like, okay, I basically like throw the spotter at Rob, grab my gun, get on a gun
I knocked the
quick.
spotter over.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, trying to get behind it. Of course, it's like balancing on tussocks and tundra. So I think it's still recording while you get set up on your gun. Yeah. And
I'm like, give me a range, and I'm like, I don't know, like it's probably right around here. And finally, we were able to get a good range, and I think it was like 420, something like that, and let her rip off, and basically same thing, just, crushes that bull, and he drops right there where he was. And then it was like, holy crap, like I can't believe that just worked.
Yeah, it's some long shooting. It was long for me, for sure. But and then we turned around and we're like, we're a long way from home.
Yeah.
A long way from home.
Well, and again, we haven't had any contact, so now all of a sudden you guys just start hearing shots.
And then we were checking our comms, see if it was you guys.
And that's when we got you guys we got two down.
Yeah.
And then so we're like, all right, what do we do? Do we sit here? And it's getting, it's 5:30,
6.
5:30 in the
We
evening,
were
which we still
hoping to
have
get
some.
confirmation of if you were east, west, or north before we started heading your way.
I told Dale to give me a range and bearing off of Hill 3.
Oh, and I just dropped you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we got
a point.
It took us a little while to figure that one out.
But we spotted them at, honestly, I think it was like 1.2 miles from where we were set up on Hill 3. By the time we had chased them out, we were a mile and a half, solid mile and a half away from that spot. So now we're 4.5 miles as a crow flies. from
You're
camp.
about 3 miles northeast of where we were hunting, because we had gone 2 miles to the northwest from camp.
Right. Yeah. So we're sitting there kind of talking. You guys are like, okay, we're on our way. We start breaking, do our photos, all that type of stuff. Start breaking down. And I think we broke down my bull first. We go over to your bull, break him down. Yours was a little bit further. So then we're like, okay, well, we'll just bring the meat over to.
Right.
And this whole time we're thinking that like anytime you guys are going to crest the hill behind us.
Oh, yeah.
Coming.
Our intention was we packed up pretty quick and was like, all right, well, let's go get it.
Right.
And what happened,
What happened?
Jesse, what happened
We
was,
were on now a new route that we had not been on.
Right.
We got stuck in the bog.
a mire,
And it just took us a long time to move, and we were getting smoked. And by the time we got to the bottom of Hill 3, which was still nearly 2 miles away from you, we're smoked. I don't think that we packed enough water that day because we didn't intend to go that far. Knowing from packing out
2 days regardless.
knowing from packing out my bowl, the logistics involved in that, we're just like, dude, we're not going to be any good. If we get to them, it's going to be right before dark, and we're going to be shot, and then we're going to be a liability. So Forrest was like, I think we should just head back, and we wrestled with it a little bit, and we felt bad about it, but we ended up heading back to camp, and we told you guys just to bring what you could out that night. I don't know if you guys got the text. I think you did at some point. We headed back to camp. We didn't feel good about it, but we headed back to camp, and you guys started to bring out what you could that night so that we could go back as a team the next day and get that stuff.
Yeah, so we ended up I think that we finally got everything broken down. We get the text from you guys, got the other meat brought to my meat, so everything's in one central location. And Robert, I mean, again, we're packed pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Because we knew we were gonna go long, we were gonna go have water and everything else. But we packed up as much as we could that night. I mean, it was still 70 plus pounds, I would bet,
At least,
you know.
yeah.
And we started the pack out at 9:15 that night.
Was it?
I think it was 9:15.
I know the
when
sun
I
was-
sent the text of like, okay, we're headed that way. It might have been 9:30. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, but I sent that text, and for the next 4.5 hours, we grinded that initial pack out.
I mean, we hadn't made it a mile, and the sun was like setting.
Yeah,
It was like the first time that we were actually seeing it get dark.
Most of the time we were in bed before it got dark.
Or yeah, like well, and what I mean by that is like it actually got dark. You know what I mean? Not just that
When the
dusty.
weather really rolled in on you guys too.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
affects the light.
So we were, I want to say,
We were coming off of Hill 3.
yeah, we were getting to the top of Hill
So
3.
you had made it to that ditch crossing, that creek crossing, right at dark?
No, we were coming, like we were cresting Hill 3 to come down when we had to start turning headlamps on, and we still had 3 miles to go essentially.
Right.
And we crossed.
Luckily, him having a track made it exponentially easier
Had
to
to, but it was
follow.
the wind was like steady 15 to 20 miles an hour. It was raining. It was dark, and we were still 3
We were
miles.
hungry.
Yeah.
We were starting to get low on water.
Yes, I ended up running out of water on Hill 2.
Yeah.
And we had to use wiggies that day.
Yeah. We had used wiggies to get across it the
Yeah,
first time, then we
yeah.
had to
So
jump back on.
the weather and the snow and everything, those creeks had risen a good 8 to 10 inches to where, you know, it's definitely knee high or more.
Yeah.
The day we brought my bull out, we just jumped over it.
Right.
Yeah.
It was no longer like that.
No.
You would be up.
You
over your
were
waist.
you were knee to thigh high.
And it just got a lot
essentially.
wider. You could jump like almost like a small irrigation ditch, but it had gotten
Yeah.
15 feet wide.
Right.
And the irrigation or the ditch portion had gotten to where it was about almost waist high.
Which made using the track even more significant, because if you weren't using it, like you didn't know where, like you were gonna go through areas you just couldn't pass.
Or
You'd have to-
ponds, like run square into a pond.
Right. I just remember one thing you ended up making us pause, and like we got to the top of Hill 3 and we just like took the packs off and got some calories in us.
Yeah, I was like, we need to eat something. We need to get water because this, we've got 3 miles left, and we're probably not going to slow down. And actually, I think when we went through the ditch, I kind of forced us to get a little bit more food in us
Yeah, you did. Right.
because I knew that like we were going to push hard after that. Because I mean, to be honest, once you get through that ditch and you get to Hill 2, it's like easy walking to get back to camp, right? But it's like you still have to work.
But we ended up, but I didn't have tracks from where we shot the bulls to Hill 3. I just had them from Hill 3 to camp.
Right.
And so we made a track on Onyx, like, hey, what's the most efficient route? And we were going over the widest part of Hill 3, which at the time sounded like really good idea. But it,
side hilling it.
yeah, side hilling it, and then we went over the flattest part of it, and it held a ton of water and like the deepest tussocks that we passed all week.
Hill 3, like the normal tussocks in like the lowland and stuff like that were like the size of a basketball. On Hill 3, they're like each tussocks was like this big.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so
it was-
you literally had to high step
Everything.
and then you don't know where the bottom was. It was just so taxing.
It was
I don't know.
really-
I think on those higher terrains, because it drains, I think the erosion happens around those tussocks and they get taller,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
It's something we learned the hard way.
Yeah. So we ended up getting back to camp at like 1:30 in the morning, I think it was.
Yeah.
Drop packs, drop meat, all that. And instantly it was just like, okay, get in bed because we have to go do this tomorrow.
I was drained.
We have to do it again.
Yeah.
So I think that we ended up sleeping for like 6 hours or something like roughly, right? I think we got up at 8 o'clock the next morning, and I had told you, I was like, as long as we can get out of here by 9:30, 10,
Right.
I think that it's going to take us 8 hours at a minimum, potentially 10, right, to do the round trip there and back. So we ended up, I think we left it.
We left almost at 11 because we were moving. You guys were moving a little bit slower, and I
Yeah.
knew you guys needed time.
Food
we
and
also
water.
Just get our water ready. We had to run a couple platypuses to make sure we were taking sufficient water. Just make sure we were geared up for the day. We had all day of daylight, so we had enough time. It was just being prepared to make sure we could make that long haul.
Right.
For sure.
And Forrest hadn't killed yet, so ended up just being the three of us and giving you a chance to
Go back.
Yeah, go back.
Go back west to
Where you had
Alpha.
seen some animals.
Yeah, seen plenty of animals, just not the right one,
Right.
or whatever the situation was with the lack of migration. They'd mill about at that 5 mile range from us, and
Yeah.
we'd see cows, and we had some really cool encounters with cows and calves, and I mean, you saw it also.
Yeah, that was the last day.
Come in and check us out. And, seen plenty of animals, but I don't know what plenty of animals is in caribou country. No experience with that.
Yeah, so we ended up going and starting to pack out. Again, like just said, we started close to 11 o'clock, and what's funny is we were slow. We ended up being slower going out than we did going back.
It was almost 4.5 out, but we were taking our time because we didn't want to smoke ourselves getting
Right.
out there.
You
Yeah,
guys
we
made
went light.
really good time coming back. I was like, you guys were sending me updates, so I knew where you were. I had on Hill 1 and Hill 2 a very small cell signal, so I kind of like last resort, I could call somebody there was trouble, right? And you were doing a good job of sending me the Zolio message, so I know where you are. And y'all's time from, hey, we made it, we're packing out now over on 3, which was pretty good, but your time from 3 to 2 was real good.
Let's
we
talk about the
blazed.
time too there, because these guys, and I probably would have done the exact same thing they did. I probably would have went after those bulls. I think we all probably would have, because we weren't seeing a whole lot, and it was time to try and get something. They made the right move, but it was easy for Forrest and I to be like, why would you shoot anything that deep? Like, you guys outworked all the hunters in a 10-mile radius. Like, we had to go deep to get those caribou, and that's just the way it was.
I mean, that's the only
And
place.
it was.
We were only
it was
seeing them there.
unfun, and the whole way out there, it was a long trip out there, just because I was like, man,
Yeah,
this is a long ways. I kept looking behind me at Hill 3, and I'm like, we're just getting further and further away. And Hill 3, just to get from Hill 3 to camp is a long haul.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, dude. And then I like sprained my foot or did something
Whatever
with my toe.
it was,
and
yeah.
On the way out.
I'm like walking on, felt like a broken foot.
Yeah.
And I'm just in my mind cussing. I mean, I'm motivated because I'm happy for you guys and I want to be part of the team, but also it's just taxing.
Right.
Once we got out there and we got loaded up with all the meat and everything, then once you're on your way back, you're like, all right, I see the end in sight.
Yeah.
Like we will get back. Like it's gonna hurt, but we're gonna get back, and we did.
Well, and I think it kind of goes back to, something that we talked about super early on, right? Is having the right people with you that you can keep motivated, that you can joke around, right? And that like you want to put the work in for your buddies, right? Like after you've killed and we jumped in to help you pack out, right? Like it ends up having to be such a team effort, and it's like it's so important to pick the right hunting buddies when you're doing these type of things, because the last thing you want to do is like have somebody that doesn't want to leave camp.
Yeah.
Right. And I've been on those hunts that, I can't go chase the animals that I want to because I've got somebody that's, holding back the team, if you will, of like not being able to leave camp or won't, be able to do things.
Yeah.
And I just think that's where it's like us all knowing each other very well and knowing like that we're going to go help each other anytime that needs to happen. Like that's
This sounds like a horrible idea. I'm in.
Yeah. No, we got about 4 miles away from camp. I remember on that pack out, and you were like, "What are we doing?" But then, like, as soon as we got the animals on our back, got the meat on our back, you're like, "Okay, we got this."
Got it.
Yeah, we got it.
I mean, I knew we had it the whole time, but in my head, I'm just like,
This sucks.
but then I'm also thinking like, I would have done the exact same thing.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
And when you're hunting with your brothers, it is like a brotherly love, and also like, gosh darn it, guys.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
Don't do that. Don't do this again.
It's okay to have the mixed emotions.
Yeah.
Okay to say, what are you thinking?
Well, that's the thing. You said that on the way, like when we were at the 4 mile or 4.5 mile mark or whatever. But then, like when we were 2 miles from camp, you're like, I would do the same thing. It was already like, hey, the end was in sight. We got this, and you guys did a good job of like, hey, let's go super light. We brought filtration with us, so we each took. I mean, I took like 2.5 liters.
I had 2.5 liters.
You had 2.5. You probably had 3.
I think one of the biggest takeaways would be to bring filtration with you everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's water
There's
everywhere.
water everywhere out there. And
Yeah.
It costs nothing to carry that filtration. You don't have to carry 5 liters of water with you, but you might need it.
Right.
And you carry that a small pump or a platypus. I think your pump was great for like that, like just filling up your Nalgene. I think that's something we would have done better.
Quick break. Everybody had to pee and get a new snooze or Zen or something. So
I had to calm my emotions because I was reliving.
there you go. Yeah.
It was a great time.
Yeah.
I would do it twice over again, maybe. Not like anytime soon.
I joke. That's what I would say. I said that if I don't see Tussocks again for another 2 years, it would still be probably a little too soon.
Yeah, I mean, all of
1000%.
our feet are broke off after that.
Yeah.
I will say that, like I don't pack a ton, so shoulders were smoked, but man, my feet just in general were just taking a absolute beating.
They're just constantly wet, no matter what, like, what great situation. You can have the best gear, and it does not matter. You're either gonna sweat through it, or you're gonna get wet somehow, even if you get in and out of the water. Even if you have wiggies, which we were carrying, like hip waiter wiggies, lightweight things that we cross. Just everything's so wet all the time. It just doesn't matter. Like, it's gonna find its way in, and your feet get soft. They're wet, and they're gonna get a little tore up. And just, I don't know what it is. It almost felt like high impact, but I think it's just because of all the manipulation of walking over the tundra.
Well,
and
you
stuff
end
like
up
that. Like,
using
and you're doing
different
this all the time.
like different muscles essentially that you can work out in the gym. Even if you like, I mean, obviously I had trained for a sheep hunt prior to this hunt, and my legs felt pretty good, but my lower calf was always tight or sore, right? And I'm pretty sure that everybody's was.
All stabilizer muscles.
Yeah, it's all those little stabilizer muscles. Your foot's twisting in different directions, all the weight's going on it. So that lower calf is just constantly under stress.
100%. I mean, everybody in this crew is fit and capable of all Western hunting, and that terrain is just a different beast
Yeah.
than I've ever experienced.
Well, and it's funny because again, you look at it and you're just like, oh, this is no big deal. It's just flat terrain, and I only got to climb 150 feet or 140 feet, right? And you're like, that's no big deal.
But you are up and down a lot. Like, even there's just little rises. You go up 4 feet, down 4 feet, up 4 feet, down 4 feet.
Or you're stepping on a tussocks up, and down and up, and it's
Yeah, as Jesse said earlier, every step you're putting a load on, and if you don't, you're gonna hurt yourself.
Right.
And I know, like, the distances we're talking about, like you were talking about some of your like Western hunts and bare bottom and some of these other areas.
Just on a sheep hunt last week, I
Yeah.
think they did like 60 miles or something on,
Right.
on the boot leather.
And I think your phone said that day, because it had rolled over from the night before, it was like 13 miles.
14 and a half.
Or 14 and a half that we had done. And,
Which is funny because if you really think about it, straight line distance, there's no way that we actually did 14 and a half miles, but because of the way that you're taking steps, you're right. Do it. Right. Exactly. So you end up doing a lot
Especially
more.
when you find, I don't know what we call those little snake roly-polies through the...
Right, when you're trying to do the Sussex shuffle from one place to
The
another.
red brick road through the marsh.
Yeah. So you end up walking just more than you actually think you're gonna do.
right. And when you talk to guys, like we were talking to RJ on the way out, and we were like, yeah, we shot him 5 miles deep. It's like his eyes got
Yeah.
big.
And this is the guy that does
an
it.
Alaskan,
Right.
From an Alaskan, like, oh.
Yeah, this is the guy that does it every year. And he even told us when he was leaving, he's like, I tried to shoot him on that first hill and it still takes me all day to get him back.
He said when we first dropped off, you're probably not going to shoot him from camp, but if you can get to the first hill,
Yeah.
you'll go.
Right. But what I'm getting at is that he was saying that when he would shoot him from the first hill, it would take him all day to get him back to the river. You know what I mean? And that's only 900 yards from camp. And here we are 5-ish miles.
And I'll say this, like there was a pond that was big enough to get a float plane in, and it was 5 miles from the river. Like anybody hunting in that 5 mile range was not walking there.
Right.
Like they were flying in.
Yeah, you guys aren't giving yourselves enough credit for taking them back there, because we did have camps get dropped on our east and our west.
Yeah.
And they would make it kind of where I was hunting in that 2 mile range,
Right. And that's as far as
and it wouldn't go past that. So
And that was the logical thing to do.
Yeah.
To hunt within 2 miles of the river is the logical
That's
thing.
what-
what I was trying to do, and you.
That's
but
what the
by
hunt's set
putting
up
in
for.
the extra effort that you guys did when you decided after we'd all experienced Jesse's bull, we're gonna go do it. And that's what it took on this hunt. You had to be mentally tougher, physically tougher, and just outwork the neighbors.
Well, that's where I was going to go. Is that,
Is it stupider, Jesse?
it is. I feel like a lot of it is just being dumber than the other person, right? But like I try to say, if you can outwork the competition, like your rewards will be there, right? So, yeah. Before we start going, I'd like to kind of wrap up the next couple of days. Again, obviously we did that. That took most of day 5. We essentially only had one more day to hunt at that point before we were going to get picked up on, quote, day 7. So day 6, at that point I was starting to get pretty worn down, but also my boots were I think we can all probably agree that my boots was probably the most soaked out of anybody's. I was also the only person that wasn't wearing Kinetrex on this hunt, so there could be something to that.
Or
and
a taller boot.
a taller boot and an all. You guys had all leathers where I didn't.
All leather and
Right,
we're
so
insulated as
I think
well.
that's something to kind of think about as we're talking gear list or anything. And I want to do like a whole blog post of like full on gear list of what I had on this hunt and what I would change on this hunt for, our website. And
I think those
everything
Kinetrex
else,
are probably 10s, like 10-inch boots, and yours are 8s.
Yeah, but again, I go back to not being all leather, right? Like every single time I stepped in water, I was going to get a little bit of water in there because it has that whatever Cordura or whatever, right? That's just gonna, it's Gore-Tex, but it's still letting a little bit in.
Yeah.
But if you want, we can wrap up our last full day
Yeah.
of hunting. You guys had just experienced a day.
Yeah.
14 miles.
They had 2 days.
Jesse was hurting
Jesse
pretty bad because of his
maybe
foot.
dislocated his toe,
Yeah,
whatever.
we had
he
done
was out.
Right.
Back-to-back pack
Robert was
outs.
our Ironman for the week, and he came out with me on the last day. We went west again, a couple miles to the
It was
west.
cold and
And
blowing.
it was
20 mile an hour winds,
it was
man.
caribou weather,
It was Caribou.
and we were watching animals all day, also turning ourselves into popsicles
Yeah, we
And then
spent
after
5 hours.
5
on that
hours,
hill.
we said, all right, we have to get the blood flowing and relocate. So we relocated, spent a few more hours on the new lookout, ran out daylight. Just didn't work out for us.
Still had a pretty cool encounter. Had 2 cows and a calf come within 50
Well,
yards.
yeah, that was real fun to get to see. I mean, they were in petting zoo distance. You
Yeah,
know, they came
were
right up to
awesome.
us, and Robert fell in love with the calf. He said it was the cutest.
Yeah, I mean, it
wild
was.
critter he's ever
Man,
seen.
it was. It was. I mean, it looked like a teddy bear. I was looking through the binoculars.
Meanwhile, I'm looking to confirm sex.
Yeah, I might pull the trigger on that one.
Sheath and they couldn't find the sheath.
That was a really, really easy pack out. That would have been. One other cool thing, we saw a wolf,
Yes.
which was pretty awesome that
It's
last
just-
day.
I wish we had a chance on it. It's beautiful. It's my first outside of Yellowstone wolf sighting. It was
Probably 800-900 yards
It was an
away.
amazing thing to see. It would have been the trophy of a lifetime, and for me at least. It didn't work out, but we got to see it and
Yeah, that was awesome.
spend some time looking at it through the glass.
But after about 5 hours, we were done. So we backed out about a mile to Hill 1 and spent another hour and a half, 2 hours there.
You guys hunted hard that day, though. I mean, you
Yeah.
guys put 10 hours in out there, and that's a long time
We were out there
to sit out
we
there.
did a full day.
Yeah.
And it was a nasty south wind swinging to north wind, cold, high of 34, 35 with a lot of moisture.
Yeah, it rained on us.
Yeah, and that was the end of our last day, and we had I guess we had communicated with the transporter to just confirm, hey, are we coming out tomorrow? And
Right. We'll get picked up before.
we'll get to this, but unbeknownst to me, he had sent me a message to my cell phone, not to my inReach. Hey, one of your guys needs to dress really warm for when we come out of the field.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
didn't get that message until
In true
When he
Alaska,
showed up,
he
Yeah.
showed up.
In true Alaska fashion, stuff breaks and it's not easy to repair. Like
Right.
parts aren't easy, and so yeah, RJ runs 2 boats, and I think he had a fan belt break.
Yeah.
And he was
Stranded about 10 miles from us,
Right.
10 miles from us, but a couple miles from the boat ramp. That boat broke
So
down.
we're expecting 2 boats to show up, and only one showed up. So
We're loading 4 dudes with almost probably 100 pounds of gear each, plus three
100 pounds.
caribou.
Yeah. Meat and
Meat.
antlers
Going out, we
heads.
had 2 boats, 2 people per boat,
and gear.
and
over.
then we went 4 out, 1 boat plus 3 caribou.
Yeah.
We were heavy,
yeah,
Very heavy.
and
It was thick.
these boats have acrylic cabins at seat 4, including the transporter. Well, there's 4 of us, and so
Yeah.
somebody was left out. And our Iron Man,
Short straw.
Yeah.
Mr. Robert Pavelka here, graciously volunteered
Heroes.
somebody's got to do it.
to sit in the outdoors, and RJ suggested that he wrap himself from head to toe in the tarp.
and in the bloody tarp that we've been storing our meat in, and yeah, I just made myself a little cocoon. So I'm sitting in front of the cab of the airboat, and yeah, got it about right here in full rain.
I don't suggest anybody try this at home, because I'm sitting next to RJ in the front of the cockpit, and you guys were right behind me, but I had a bird's eye view of the absolute suffering that Robert was enduring, and the first thing that happened is when he turned that airboat off the gravel bar.
Because he's
the
coming
bow,
down.
and the bow just stuffed, and we took green water over the bow, and just a wave of water over Robert, and it's snowing out,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I know we've got a long way to go, and I felt really bad.
Hey, RJ did a great job. I mean, like he was trying. I mean, I could feel him trying to take those turns, because if he takes a turn just a little too sharp, a wall of spray comes right over and hits me in the face.
That boat was heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I felt bad for you, but I was pretty cozy inside.
Robert just wanted the full experience.
I got it.
Between packing out, having to
Robert
endure
participated
all the
in all
days.
the packs, all the days,
Did what I could. for
everything.
sure.
The Iron Man of the trip.
it was
He took
fun.
the heaviest loads, and he hunted the hardest out of all four.
Yeah. Well, everybody hunted hard, but it was I don't know. You're there for the experience, you know, and so it's like
Well, he was
you leave it out on the field, you
You
know.
were rewarded with the opportunity on double shovel bull, and
The largest bull of the trip.
yeah.
I mean,
Then he said that I could shoot when we left the hill. That's how he talked me into actually going that far. But when we got there, I do. He's like, can I shoot that bull? I remember you saying that. He's like, can I shoot that bull? I was like, I don't care, man. Whatever.
yeah, go for it. Yeah, but I mean, even when we got back to the boat launch, I had a guy immediately come up to us, and he was like, "Man, you guys did great," you know. And it's like, yeah, I've had clients that or guys out that are going over, that camp next to us. There's 4 guys in that camp, and they shot the 2 bulls that were right
Out of our backyard.
yeah, out of our backyard, and for that week, that was kind of like the lucky experience, because we weren't seeing any bulls between 1 and 2, where you normally would hunt in this terrain. So they went 2 for 4. We ended up going 3 for 4, and there were a ton of camps that just got skunked.
Yeah, I mean,
There's a lot of sad faces.
there was definitely at the boat ramp.
Launch. And, we had planned this trip, I don't know if we mentioned at the beginning, but we were thinking that we're going as late as we could to fit everybody's schedule, kids' school schedules, fall bow hunts, and still, think we're going to be late enough that they're going to be migrating.
Yeah, I mean, I figured that we would be dead slap in the middle of migration, and it was like the very beginning. It felt like.
I think it started to turn like that last.
Well, it was caribou weather for the last
That
couple days.
last day when Robert and I were out, it was the first time we saw a small herd coming south, and then that either the wolf or neighboring hunters or whatever spooked them. It was like the first group of animals clearly with their nose pointed to the south and moving.
Well, one thing that I will say is it felt like they only walked into the wind everywhere they went. It didn't care, whichever way the wind was blowing, that's the way that they were going to walk. So maybe it was because you did talk about it being like a south into a north. So maybe they were just walking, you know what I mean? But it felt like every other time that we would see caribou, they were always walking towards whichever way the wind was blowing. So
But
maybe.
when it got coldest, the wind was coming from the north, and
Right.
that's when the cold weather was coming from the north. So
Yeah.
We haven't figured
truly
it out.
know.
Right.
We don't know anything.
Yeah, 100%. We just know to walk until you find caribou.
Walk
and
till
then-
your
Yeah.
feet
Don't
are
wait
wet,
for
your
them.
feet are
You gotta
wet.
go find them.
100%.
But we were all broken down by the end of the week. I mean, I think your knee hurt, your foot hurt. I got a bone bruise. We all have blisters, and
that's
we're all pretty
with
sore.
everybody's rocking high-end footwear. There's
Footwear,
nothing
high-end gear,
you can in that situation. There's no way to avoid the dampness. There's no way to avoid.
You just mitigate it as best as you
Just do
can.
your best.
So since we kind of talked, we briefly talked on me shooting 257, you shooting 6x PRC.
Yeah.
I would like to talk about your 300 Psalm that you were able to bring on this hunt that has been sitting in the closet for far too long.
Right. Okay. We can talk about that. I have a 300 Psalm. I've been in love with the caliber since it came out in 2001 or 2, somewhere in there. My grandfather, I was in high school, gave me a Remington 673 guide gun and 300 Psalm, and I killed my first bull elk, my first mule deer, a lot of my first western animals with that gun, and then the cartridge kind of died off, and there wasn't a lot of support for it. And just like Dale said, it went to the back of the safe, and I was wanting to do a fun short action custom build. And I said, well, I've got that action. It's kind of sentimental. It was given to me by my grandfather, and a lot of my firsts were that gun. So, well, I'm going to do a build on that gun. And so I did a build, and Robert and I actually together went through the load development on it.
Yep.
And when I say I did a build, I'm not going to name names, but top of the line barrel, top of the line gunsmith, Trude and Blue Day action, top of the line stock, top of the line trigger, all the things you would do.
We got it shooting decent.
And we just didn't get it where we wanted it.
No.
And so we actually shipped that build to one of the premier custom ammo manufacturers. And he ended up giving up on the gun. Said he
Like
can't,
6 months, 9 months.
said he couldn't make it shoot. He said it'll shoot a 1/4 inch and then it'll throw around 2 MOA out of the group. He just wasn't satisfied. He didn't think it was worth my money for.
Yeah.
And he sent it back. And I had been planning to take a lightweight 6.5 Creedmoor on this hunt. I ended up having trouble with that gun, just bad luck after bad luck. And look, very last minute, Dale is about to walk out the door in a sheep hunt, and you guys drop the reserve line, and I see 300 SOM is in the reserve line. And I sent Dale a message and I said, "Oh, I love 300 SOM." And I've got this gun that I've been trying to shoot. I mean, there's a competitor that is loading factory ammo in it, and the gun's shooting okay with it. Now, I would use it for something.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to bring it on a hunt where I'm expecting a longer shot.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I'm gonna get a box and just try it. Well, I get a box, and I went and shot like 1 whole groups with the reserve. So I was pumped, to take that gun. Whether it's the way it was chambered or who knows.
The sub half MOA.
It's shooting the 175 LRX from, as loaded in the reserve line. I'm just pumped because I love that gun. It's sentimental to me, and now I've got a load that I can rely on getting great velocity. I think the boxes, you guys are saying 3,000 out of a 24-inch barrel. I've got a 22-inch barrel with a can. I'm getting like 29.90, like sub half-inch 5-shot groups.
Yeah.
I wish I would have a chance to use it on this hunt, but I am sure an elk or a mule deer has its name on it. So I'm very pumped to like revive.
Yeah, I mean, to
A
me,
gun out of the back of the state that I've got a lot of emotional attachment to.
right. Yeah, I mean, I guess what I was going to say there, right, is to me, that's what the reserve line is all about, right, is that some of these cartridges that have kind of, I hate to say, like fallen by the wayside or just kind of not gotten the love from larger manufacturers and something that you can just buy readily available, right? And like, again, the reserve line makes a lot of sense for that. So it's cool to hear, I mean, you've told me about this 300 SOM for years and what you were trying to do well before I was ever working at Barnes.
I just love the cartridge.
Yeah.
As opposed to the Wisdom, like it really works well in a true short action. You can really build a real short action, short, light handgun with it and still have the ass
Knockdown power.
and
Yeah.
the ballistics that you want to I'm not a long distance shooter, but I want to be capable of 600 meters.
Yeah.
I want to know.
Right.
I've got a bullet.
going to
I've got
do
a
the
bullet
job.
that will be effective
Yeah.
if I have to take that shot.
Right.
And so it's really checked all those boxes for me. So I'm pumped about it. I'm glad. I hope that you guys continue to make that available because I will be shooting it up.
Okay, that's good to hear. All right, so as we kind of start to wrap this thing up, now that we've kind of done the story of the hunt, and hopefully everybody's enjoyed that, I want to know, first off, Forrest, would you do this hunt again?
The exact hunt?
All I said was, would you do the hunt again?
Yes, I would do the hunt again. I would not make too many changes to my gear list. I don't know if we're going to go into that, but yeah, I had fun. And what I wanted out of this hunt was time in the field with friends.
Right.
More than like, I got to and I didn't really express this to everybody except for maybe Robert, like, I'm not necessarily a trophy hunter, but my goal here is like spend time with friends and try to shoot a nice one.
Well, you're also joking around because one thing that we haven't mentioned is that we are all girl dads, and that you have a lot of estrogen in your house. And
Yeah, I needed some male. My office is 90 some odd % female. My home is all female. My wife, my daughter, my 2 dogs. I needed some good male bonding with the girl dad buddies, and I think that was a success. Man, it was a great time.
I didn't know that going into this hunt, but yeah, all girl dads. That's interesting for sure.
Okay, so you started to kind of touch on gear. What's one thing you wish you had, and what's one thing that you didn't need?
I wish I had packed more socks. It doesn't matter. It's just a mental thing, but putting on dry socks in that first 10 minutes before they're completely wetted out and your feet are cold mentally makes your day start better.
100%.
So that's what I...
So I'll say that that's one thing I did on my moose hunt that I wish I would have done here. I packed, like, it was a 10-day hunt, and I packed 12 days of socks, essentially. And this time, I only packed, like, 6 days of socks, so I was, like, a day short. And instantly, I regretted that decision.
Yeah, I had 2 days where I'm like, I'm saving those last dry socks. I want to feel good on day 6.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, what's one thing that you didn't ever take out of your bag?
Well, let me add one thing to the socks thing. My gloves, which I brought 4 different types of gloves for, were
needed 5?
were not up to snuff.
Okay.
I should have brought a second set of waterproof insulated gloves because I completely wetted out a well-known name and lost them. And so I was rocking my Amazon rubber fishing gloves, which work well.
Yeah.
And they really they do
Your hands
work.
get cold in those things.
They do get cold. The one thing I brought that I never took out of my bag was a mitt,
Yeah.
like a hand
A
mitt.
little hand warmer thing
I
around your waist.
Yeah, I never took it out because it's too wet.
Right.
It,
Yeah.
it,
It's
was,
gonna get
it,
soaked.
it was a pillow. It didn't. I didn't even use it as a pillow. I mean,
Yeah.
it stayed in the bag. So that's what was in the bag. That in this weather is just waste of space.
Okay.
For me,
Same question to you. We'll start with, would you do this hunt again?
I don't think I'd do this exact same hunt.
All I asked is if you would do the hunt again.
Huh? I mean, the type of hunt, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want to do another caribou hunt? is what you're
I would
saying.
do another
But you don't think that you
another
wanna
caribou
do
hunt. I want to do it do
this
yourself.
again? You
Like,
wouldn't do it yourself.
I would.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 100%. Like that, the enjoyment, did we shoot like huge animals? No, but the enjoyment of doing it yourself, like
Yeah.
that's the trophy, right? That experience of, the hard fight to get out there and get back with my trophy was awesome. So yeah, I would do a caribou hunt again for
All
sure.
right. So what's one thing that you never took out of your pack that you wish you would have, or that you didn't need? And then what's one thing that you did need?
For me, and maybe this is just weather dependent, but like the soft shell jacket never came out. Like you lived in rain gear, right? And the forecast was never accurate. It rained every day,
Yeah.
right? And some even the best day, even when like Jesse killed, it still rained like right when we were like recovering.
Yeah, we just had a little bit of sprinkle
Just a
or
little
whatever.
bit, right? And the fact that you just don't get any dry out. So any kind of like my soft shell never left the bag, to be honest. And what I wish I would have packed more of were just base layers, because it was 3 pack outs. I sweated through them, right? And they were cooked. They were done after that. So I ended up wearing just pants, like really thin, my katana pants, that were able to kind of semi-dry. They were still damp though, and then rain gear over them. And after the first 2 pack outs, I was out of, my like even merino wouldn't even really dry.
Yeah. I mean, even if you put it in your sleeping bag, it's not going to dry
No.
in that 6-8 hours at night.
And I packed 4 pairs of socks. So
Mm,
4
you
pairs of
were
socks
tight.
and 2 pairs of long underwear, merino wool, and I was out like almost halfway through the hunt.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would pack definitely more of those on the walk out, 1 base layer and rain gear. That's all you need, and then puffy underneath once you get set up.
What would I bring? Or what did I bring?
When are we going again?
Oh, I would do it again.
I knew you would.
Because I love to do stupid stuff. Yeah. I think if we did it again, I think it'd be really cool to like fly more interior. Like if we got more into the middle of the herd, because I feel like we were on the outskirts, and you can get to the outskirts being either on the highway or the river, and it could be just the time that they migrate.
Well,
maybe we just didn't hit it right.
So you're talking about flying in, right? Like that's one thing that we really haven't talked about is like the reason you can do an airboat is it's a lot easier to get on with an airboat transporter versus a fly-in transporter.
Yeah, that 3-4 year wait list.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So like trying to do something plus, I mean, just to be honest, like an airplane's going to cost you 3 times, if not 4 times the amount of money that the airboat does. So like if you're looking at all the, I mean, and I get it, right? We're just talking hypotheticals here, but like for the audience to understand that, like this was a very quote cheap,
For Alaska.
affordable DIY type of hunt that is, we could basically plan it out 1 year in advance and go do it versus 3 to 5 years. And then it's also 3 to 5 times the amount of money to go do.
Yeah.
So that's just something to think about, but sorry.
Yeah, I would do this again if I trained on walking on basketballs with my feet wet for a week beforehand.
We can do that. You need one of those.
In my Kenetrex.
What did I brought it up one time. What's those things called at the gym where you stand on half the
Bocey balls.
Bocey balls. I think that if you did a Bocey ball constantly with 80 pounds on your back and you just made yourself wiggle,
Wobble.
and then you step to another one and then step to another one, that's the tussock shuffle training that you need.
Basically, just run the wipeout. Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, with these guys, I would do it. I would do anything. It doesn't matter. I'd do whatever stupid hunt you guys want to do. I'm game. I might bitch a little bit, but it'll be all right.
All right. What's one thing you didn't take out of your bag?
So I took it out of my bag, but it just sat in my tent. It was a hatchet, but I'm glad that I had it. I thought that we might be able to procure some wood somehow.
Some dry wood.
Yeah, there was no chance of making a fire. There's just, I mean, all you have is shrubs, and they're all wet. It's all green wood anyways, so I would bring the hatchet regardless, but I didn't use it.
Okay.
Everything else, I think I used almost everything else. Oh, one thing I did not use that I'm glad I didn't have to use was insect repellent, thermocell, and head.
We got very close.
I expected to come to Alaska and get murdered by
Mosquitoes.
I got one mosquito bite. And that was when we got to camp after we packed my bull back. And they got me right here in the temple.
Yeah. We got some in day 2.
That was it. Like, it was not buggy. And
we got lucky on that.
thank the Lord on that one.
All right, and
one
then
thing that we
that
made
you
a
wish
good
you had.
purchase. No, one thing that I brought that was good was those screw-in tent stakes.
Yeah.
So the tundra is very soft, and just like a normal straight tent stake, it'll pull out, especially the wind whips out there pretty hard, and it's either going to pull out and you're going to lose part of your tent or be chasing it through the dark in the middle of the night.
Or it's going to fly in the river.
So we got like these, I think they're 9 or 10 inch screw-in tent stakes. They were cheapos off of Amazon, but they just kind of crank in and they bite into the tundra, and those are like a major sustain. I would, if you're doing a tundra hunt, take those. Yeah, I think
One thing you wish you had.
Well, Forrest didn't cover it, but a buddy heater.
Well, I didn't do the wish you had segment. I would
I think
add,
we all wish that we had a buddy heater at some point.
Some type of drying device.
A communal space.
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to add. Like, in our pre-hunt conversations, I caught a lot of flack for the buddy heater, which is whatever. But the communal space, I think we had discussed it, and we're all kind of pushing weight on airlines and getting our stuff here and whatever. But because of the weather we had, a communal space would have been really fun.
Well, yeah, not only for, essentially tent days that we could have all, hung out in the same place, but also have a drying station. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think
Or you
that-
could run the buddy heater.
And if we had a communal space, I bet we would eat the rest of Jesse's caribou.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was very
We were
good.
black on blackberry whiskey though, so.
Yeah. We're out. I don't know what happened to it.
We'll have to take that on the next trip.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We'll have to restock. All right. Well,
What
anything
about you,
else?
Dale?
What about me?
What would you bring or not bring or wish you had? Or what did you not use?
What did I not use? I had 2 extra pair of pants in my bag that I never even touched. Like outer layer pants, just because, again, to go back to Robert's point, we were just in rain gear essentially the whole time. So I just ended up, after day 1, I just wore base layers and then rain gear over top.
Yeah.
Which I was fine with that. I could open up my rain gear and open up my base layers if I got too hot. I could zip it back up if it was raining. So didn't need essentially 3 pairs of pants. I kind of knew that. Usually I only take 2 on hunts like this, but I brought 3 just because I brought 2 heavy and 1 light. It is what it is. So that was one thing that I don't think I need. And then I guess what do I wish I had more of was like either socks, or I would also argue a better pair of boots or a different pair of boots.
Or a second pair of boots if you have the space.
Yeah, I mean, I think bringing a second pair of boots is very difficult. You know what I mean? Like to think about. I mean, most people are going to have 1 pair of like really broken in good pair of boots. And I kind of feel like I do, especially for this type of hunt right now. I've got other different boots, right? But I'm going to use them if it's super dry or super hot, right? Knowing that it was probably going to be pretty wet, I just thought that these boots were going to be better in the water, and they just weren't. So, and then to say, would I do the hunt again? I probably would, just because, again, like I'm dumb like that, and I like torture and like to try to outdo anybody else. So I don't know. I just enjoy hunting. You can fucking sign me up for something really dumb and I'd go do it.
Yeah.
I've done it before in the past. So I think that kind of wraps it up for this episode of the Barnes Bullets podcast. Hopefully that was plenty long enough for everybody, and they hopefully they got some wisdom out of it, and jokes and everything else. And then I think we'll be doing a lot more of these like hunt recaps this fall. So
It's a good time.
Yeah, man. Enjoyed it. Really spent time with you guys.
yeah,
Sure.
I appreciate you guys going on this grand adventure with me.
Ready for the next.
Yeah, we're gonna do it again here
We
soon.
saw muskox.
That's true. We did see a muskox. That was the first time that I've ever seen one of those.
Yeah, a wolf and a muskox. Two animals never seen in the wild. So yeah,
And you can only see them in
incredible.
certain areas, so that's pretty cool.
Yep.
Well, cool.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Thank you.